Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. We have a full seedling tour to do today, which I'm going to get to in a minute. It is rainy and windy and cold outside, so the garden tour is going to have to wait a little bit. So I'm sitting here in my sunny room, which isn't so sunny today, but we call it that because of this big, beautiful window. And that is where I've jammed the majority of my houseplants. That and right over there as well. Most of those will go outside for the summer, so they're just in here temporarily. But this is a permanent fixture. Buster. Buster. Oh, I know, I woke you up. Buster's got the right idea. And here we are. That's just about the shortest commute ever. All right, let's start over here. So under these two domes, we have a lot of peppers. Look at those. These are in soil blocks. I'm going to pop those into cell trays today. These are all coming up as well. The majority of these are for the seedling sale. There are the other ones. There's the King of the North and the Yankee Bell. All looking beautiful. It's fascinating to see. This is why I love soil blocks. It's fascinating to see that root coming out of the seed first. And if you had these buried in cell trays, you would see nothing happening. But I've been watching these for about 3 days now. And it will still be another 2 to 3 days likely before those first leaves appear. Now there is nothing in these yet, but I will be planting these today. That is my big job today. 480 soil blocks ready for tomato seeds. We're gonna go up here next. There are the mushroom kits that we started. I don't remember how long ago. I'll have to check when I did that video, but I wanna say a week. Not much more than a week, and look at these. Those are the shiitake mushrooms. Not a huge amount, I think 5. There's a little tiny one down there. Not ready to pick yet. They'll get big, so it doesn't matter that there aren't too many. And then we have some little oyster mushrooms starting down there. There's one little grouping and a second one starting up here. And I think I saw a little bit of life near the top of that slit as well. So that should, whoops, oh, I poked them. That should come all the way up, and we should get mushrooms up along there. Now this rack, this is the rack of things that are going to be moving outside very shortly. Normally this curtain is open. I just have it closed today for lighting purposes. So we have yarrow, Colorado mix yarrow, summer berries yarrow. These are cool flowers that will be planted out within a week or two at the most. This is the most recent succession of snapdragons. They'll be moving under lights actually. Those aren't going out just yet. Now this is a whole tray of parsley. They're starting to outgrow their cells already. They're going to need to be bumped up. Some leeks that I just started. These are just for my vegetable garden, as well as dinosaur kale. This is new to me this year, but it's supposed to be very cold hardy. Next, we have some herbs I've started from seed. I have some sage right there, and I also have lots of sage cuttings in the greenhouse. But I've never tried growing it from seed before, so I thought that might be a fun experiment. Not great germination, but there's still a few popping up. This is stock, beautifully scented cut flower that can also handle cold, so they'll be moving out, and some scabiosa or pincushion flowers. All these are still fairly young, but I like to get them outside for a couple hours a day, and they'll grow nice and strong, and then they won't need to be hardened off. And these are my first snapdragons. I have 2, maybe even 3 varieties in here. They will be planted out within a week or 2. And so there is my cool flower shelf. Cool flower and a few herbs. Moving on. So these are my Dahlia tubers that I've taken out of storage. They're the ones that I divided and stored in the fall. And when I took them out, they looked They're pretty dried up and shriveled. They didn't look great. But this one, Natalie G, a lovely little pink decorative dahlia. I got a couple shoots right away. These ones are a good size. And just a few days ago, I noticed 1, 2, 3, a couple more coming up here. So that is 6, 5. Oh, there's another one, right? There's 2 right here. So I have 6 shoots on those Natalie G's, and where I have 2 on the same plant, I'm gonna take the bigger one anytime now, actually. They're ready for cuttings. So rather than leaving 2 shoots on the same tuber, I'm going to take this one off, pot it up separately to root, and I'll do the same when these get a little bit bigger too. I will take the bigger one off and pot it up separately. They should grow roots, no problem. Nothing yet on the Ace Summer Sunset, which is a bummer, and the Golden Torch as well. But this one, Babette, I only noticed shoots starting yesterday. Let me see if I can find them. Oh, there it is. And there's one more that I can't find right now that's in there somewhere. So I'm not giving up hope yet on the other ones. They might still come into life. And I also have 3 full bags of Cafe au lait tubers that I have not potted up yet. Those are going to go into a bulb crate just like this, and I need to do that this weekend for sure. Now, lower on this shelf is a tray of chives. The last 2 sets over there are garlic chives. And then these are onion chives. Those are for the seedling sale, and this will be going out into the greenhouse this week. There are the geranium cuttings that we took in an earlier video. That was one of my first videos, I think. The avocados that the kids planted, no life in them yet. There are the sweet potato cuttings I took. The leaves are starting to darken, get a nice green color to them. There's no new growth yet because they're busy putting on roots, but they are rooting, so it won't be long now before we'll see some fresh new growth. So my grow light station here behind me is still 2 4-foot shelves and 1 little 2-foot light up here. And that's not very much space. And I actually went to get more light systems. I do have 2 taller shelves. I can easily make this 2 shelves higher. And there were no shop light fixtures to be found. I usually get them at my local hardware store. They were out. I looked online, nobody had them anywhere, not even for delivery, not even on Amazon. So apparently that is a supply chain issue because the supply guy at the hardware store went and looked in his computer system and nothing available anywhere in any of the stores across Canada. So I am bothering them once a week. I'm going in once a week to double check just to make sure, because when they come in, I need to get my hands on a few. I've even bought the bulbs already, just to make sure if they came in and then there were no bulbs to put in them, then that would be a royal pain in the butt. So I have the bulbs ready. I just need to wait and hope that I can get shop lights at some point. So I'll start on the floor with my poor little lemongrass. Now some of them are doing just fine. These are supposed to be slow growers anyway. But I did seed a second batch. So there are some brand new lemongrass, and I think I waited too long to pop them into cells last time. Maybe those cells are even a bit too big. I'm gonna take these soil blocks apart, the ones with the good germination, and pop them into cell trays today as well. So we might as well start on the top since that's where I am. This was an old packet of strawflowers that had really poor germination. And you know I've talked about this before. With soil blocks, I put 1 seed in each cell. That way there's no need to separate them and you don't waste seed. But when only 6, 7 of these came up, I took the rest of the seed packet. I put 3 seeds in each cell, and there is some life. You can just see the roots starting to emerge from the seed, and I think I saw a dozen of those. So straw flowers are not a huge priority. They're mostly for drying. So I'm not too worried. Whatever I get will be fine. These are my ginger plants. See, this one's getting nice and tall already. And I have little shoots coming off of these other ones, and they all came up right at the side of the pot, so I'm gonna need to move those into something bigger. There is a heat mat on this shelf, just to try to get the best out of my straw flower germination and Lemongrass and ginger are both really warm, loving crops. So I would like to have a light over those, but that is in short supply. So the heat mat will have to do now, and it's getting a little bit of light from over here. So all I do with these guys is just take them and flip them around every day, just to get a little bit of movement so that they don't lean in one direction for too long. So in this tray, I have some asters first. This is a China aster, and this is a mix. This is an ornamental grass feather top, I believe. I think the label's over there on the other side. Same thing as the lemongrass. I started these in soil blocks and bumped them up when they were about a week, between 1 and 2 weeks old. Phlox. This is not your typical perennial garden phlox. This is annual. I have 2 varieties here. This one's whipped cream. Let me pop this out. Dolce de leche. That's going to be for the cut flower garden. Stock is going to be for the cut flower garden. Status is going to be for the cut flower garden. This one's exciting. I have some perennials in here. Let me pop it out so we can have a closer look. This one is Eryngium or sea holly. I have 2 varieties in here. This one is blue cap, and this one back here is blue glitter. And these have just emerged. They're maybe a week old or so. I can see some true leaves coming in. This one is chrysanthemum, spider mix chrysanthemum. Dusty Miller, a little bit more parsley coming up back here. I think this is a different variety. It's only just starting to come up. And then we have some more herbs. This is rosemary, another herb that I've never grown from seed before, so I'm fairly happy with that germination. I also have a bunch of cuttings of that too, so this is basically a backup. There is the Rudbeckia, different varieties of black-eyed Susans for the landscape and for the cut flower garden. A little bit of winter savory. This is old seed that I tried first, so the germination's not great, but there's a few in there. Buplurum for the cut flower garden. Oh, this is another cool flower that should be on the other shelf. That's going out this week. Then we have lavender from seed. Another thing that I have a bunch of cuttings of, but I also had a packet of seed. And then what's supposed to be in here? Oh, more winter savory. Yes, I better mist that so it doesn't dry out. I had to bump it from my heat mat just yesterday to make room for more. And then this one I think is feverfew. Yes, magic lime feverfew. And feverfew is one of those plants that you can overwinter here. I have a whole bed of it outside, but it's a different variety, so I wanted to start some indoors too to gauge the difference. So I wanted to show you guys every bit of this room today. I didn't really clean up. I'm probably sitting in potting soil right now. There's dirt all over the table. And right here next to me is a Rubbermaid bin full of this Pro Mix. And I have a scoop in there and some trays. Actually, I think my soil blocking tray is in there still with leftover wet mix from last night. So there's all my potting mix. I have frost cloth stuffed onto a chair just to keep the cats off of it. You can see my soil blockers right up there sitting next to my mushroom kits. This is really a room where I have to make the best use of space. So I have some more Rubbermaid bins down there with some small 3-inch pots. And you can see I've been collecting those toilet paper tubes. I like to plant peas and sweet peas in there. We'll get to that. Maybe I'll include that in a video shortly. I have a bag of perlite and some trays. My bottom drawer here in this dresser is all just full of random plant labels, markers, small things. There's my garden bag and random things in this shelf here too, which, you know, in a week or so, I will likely have to clear that shelf out, find a place to put all that stuff and move it here next to this one in the window. But I would like to avoid doing that if at all possible. So I will get all those cool flowers out. If they can't all be planted, they'll be moved out to the greenhouse for sure. They can handle near freezing temperatures, and that's about what we're getting overnight now. The greenhouse, of course, offers some protection, even though it's not heated. And you can use frost cloth to cover them inside the greenhouse too for an extra little layer, and that keeps them nice and toasty at night. So that should save up room for those 480 tomatoes that I have to plant today. So thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time.